Hey, Sports Unfolded fans. Very special episode. NHL playoffs 2024. We're going to talk some playoff hockey. So excited. I am your host, Eric. Main man right over there, Ron. How are you tonight?
I'm excited. I'm pumped up. There's nothing like NHL playoffs.
Ron, I've been locked in my basement, haven't showered, haven't shaved. I'm a mess because playoff hockey, NBA playoffs, I mean, so much going on right now that I am absolutely going crazy. But I am excited to see what you have to say today, my hockey guy. So much going
Hey,
on in the NHL
look,
world.
I've taken the opposite approach.
Yeah, no,
I'm
you're
used to
clean
not
cut,
doing
man.
the shaving thing in hockey season. Well, guess what?
Clean cut.
It's all gone.
He's ready to go. Want to see? You got some superstition going? Is that what it is?
Well, I've decided, not shaving didn't work.
So there you go. Hey, you got past the first round now.
Every game.
Right? Got past the first round. All right, let's talk some playoff hockey then, Ron. We're going to talk about all four matchups that are currently going on in the semifinals. We'll start in the West, move to the East afterwards. Let's start off with the Dallas Stars versus the Colorado Avalanche. Dallas knocking out the defending champion Vegas Golden Knights in 7 games. Colorado pretty much swept right through Winnipeg. That was a very good series, though, high scoring. Right now in the playoffs, Colorado, the highest scoring team at 5.6 goals, which is number one in the playoffs in the postseason.
And they went up against a hell of a goaltender.
Yeah.
No
Cale
pun
Makar,
intended.
9 points, tied for first in defenseman in points. Wyatt Johnson leads the Stars, and Jake Ottinger, 0.925 save percentage with a 1.95 goals against.
Yeah.
What are we looking for in this series? Can Ottinger control Colorado's offense? I mean, Colorado's putting up some offensive numbers.
Yeah, this is the thing too. It's like the only ace in the hole that Dallas really has right now is Jake Ottinger, right? I mean, he's playing fantastic. And if not for him, they might not be there.
But
And
we've talked about this in the past with Dallas, right?
yeah,
It's that they can't score enough,
yep.
right? So defensively, they're meeting a juggernaut now in an offensive team that they can score. They're very deep.
Yeah, so when you look at it, Wyatt Johnston is leading the team right now, right? And he's been their guy for, the playoffs so far. But that's not what it should be. You've got a group of players in Robertson, Ben, Hintz, and Pavelski. Those guys are right now underperforming, and it almost cost them the first series. If they don't show up for this series, they ain't going to get away with it against Colorado.
And again, you still look at like a Nate McKinnon for Colorado, who's third on the team in scoring. So there's Colorado still hasn't even hit the peak of what they're able to do offensively.
And everybody's firing away because, I mean, you got Makar, you got Rantanen, you got Nate McKinnon, of course. But you also have Arturi Lehkonen, Nishushkin, and even the pickup at the trade deadline. Casey Middlestat has been absolutely incredible for this team. That might be the biggest draft day pickup right there. That was it. Middlestat he's got a goal and 5 assists, a +5 in these playoffs so far. That is way more than what they expected.
So does Colorado get through this series pretty easily in your mind?
I think they do. It's unfortunate because I would have loved to seen Dallas go on to the Stanley Cup because it's a team that you like what they did to build this team. It just playoff time, I think the Stars just disappear. No pun intended.
That was a good one. And it starts already.
It does start.
If Dallas is going to upset Colorado, who's the player? What needs to happen? We know Ottinger has to be like out of this world from a goaltending standpoint, which he already is, if you really look at his numbers. But is there another player that you're looking for?
Yeah, you got to have a guy like Rupe Hintz step up and get some goals. And Robertson, I mean, he's got 3 goals, 2 assists, but he's been really sloppy in his own net, in his own end at times. So if these guys don't step up, they're doomed.
Yeah, no, it's
And I don't think they can match the offense. So you got to be top notch in your own end. And so far, these guys aren't. Hintz is a -4. Robertson's a -5. They have to be better.
all right. Let's look at. There's a few things always guaranteed: death taxes, and you will have a Canadian team in the Western Conference Final because the next matchup is Vancouver versus Edmonton. Somebody has to win.
Right.
Vancouver gets past Nashville in 6 games. Edmonton got past the Kings in 5. Again, another high-scoring team. McDavid leads the playoffs with 12 points. You got Draisaitl, 10 points. Evan Bouchard, 9 points, is tied for first in defenseman as well. 45% on the power play, Edmonton, number 1 in the playoffs. 100% on the penalty kills, which is number 1 as well. Some injuries here that could be a concern for Vancouver. Thatcher Demko still out, possibly till game 4. Arturas Solovs.
I don't know.
It was
This kid
close.
came out of nowhere.
Right? 9.38 save percentage, 1.70 in the 3 games that he has played. So
Yeah,
that's going to be
great.
important. But they're going to need some offensive firepower. Brock Bozer and JT Miller lead the team with 6 points. Not going to get enough done if you're going to face Edmonton in that firepower. What does Vancouver need to do to possibly slow down Edmonton?
Quinn Hughes. When it comes down to Quinn Hughes, he needs to play better. Look, he's a -1, playing against Nashville. Now, I'm not taking anything away from Nashville. It was a good team, but they're more of a defensive team. You're going to go up against high-powered offense, and if you were a -1 against Nashville, you can't play that loose and free in your own end. Quinn Hughes has to step up. He has to be better. If he's playing the same that he was against Nashville, they're going to get rolled over.
How big's this Demko injury? Do you think?
Look, the way Solovs or whatever his name is, Seelovs, he has
Green.
stepped up. He has stepped up, and to me, he's playing better.
Right? So how interested are you in seeing? Listen, who gets past this round?
I think Edmonton takes it because I don't think they can match the offense, and I don't think that the team is just there. I don't think they have enough to withstand what Edmonton can do.
I think this is actually, if you look at it, this is probably the most exciting matchup possible because if Edmonton can get past and then Colorado gets past, you're talking about two offensive minded. You're going to have scores of like 10-9 in the Western Conference Finals because those teams can light it up. And I think that's exciting to look at. Vancouver, though, very good team for most of the year.
It is a good team.
Sports Unfolded NHL rankings, they were ranked number 1 for quite some time. So
yeah,
you could see. I mean, again, to your point, though, certain guys have to step up now and make a difference because they're just not getting enough firepower from some of their offensive players.
Yeah, I mean, we're gonna know what Quinn Hughes and players like Nikita Zadorov are going to be made of because they have to be big, and Zadorov is big. But he has to play even bigger because you've got some talent there with McDavid, Draisaitl, Zach Hyman, even Evander Kane, who hasn't really played very well in the playoffs yet, but he's capable, and he can just park right out in front, and he can create a disturbance. And you got to have a guy like Zadorov out there, when Evander Kane is standing in front of that net.
So what's more likely? Hey, you see how we're doing this? Split decision. What's more likely to run? Edmonton, who's historically been bad in the playoffs, in recent time, or Vancouver, who could actually find some offense and be able to get past Edmonton?
Vancouver's going to have to play the best defense they've played all season. I mean, it really comes down to that.
But do you think
You
mentally,
can't
like
have
Edmonton,
Elias
Edmonton
Peterson
predominantly has struggled
with
in the
no
playoffs,
goals.
right? No, Edmonton's not accustomed to being here, even with all that firepower and the great players they've
Right,
had and
because
those
they
good
usually
teams.
don't have the defense.
That's where I'm saying, do you see possibly something that could come out of that?
Yeah, and that is Stuart Skinner, their goaltender, right? I mean, he's got a 910 save percentage and a 259 goals against. Not bad. But that's something that's doable. You got to put pressure on him. You got to have bodies in front of the net. You know, players like JT Miller and Brock Bosner, they have to bully their way into the middle of that ice to get shots up close and rebounds. And like I was saying, Peterson cannot be shut out in goals this series. If he has another no goals and 3 assists series, it's over.
All right.
Period.
So you got Colorado, Edmonton coming out of the West.
Yep.
For the conference finals.
Conference finals, yeah.
Let's move to the East, Ron. New York Rangers versus the Carolina Hurricanes. Rangers swept the Capitals for nothing. Islanders got lost in 5 to Carolina. New York Rangers lead this series already 1-0. But I have to say,
you were talking the other day. Was it yesterday or the day before?
Their power play was
their power play
phenomenal.
It is
44.4%, second overall in the playoffs, the postseason.
Yeah.
But Carolina came back. I mean, it was a 4-3 game. Yeah, you're getting high stick.
I get the stick
now
today. Ugh.
Right. So you could look at it. A lot of stars on both sides of this when it comes to the Rangers and Carolina.
Yeah,
upgrade though.
Shesterkin have a tad bit more.
Shesterkin, the goaltending, we've talked about it. You 9.21 save percentage, second overall, 2.0 goals against. So again, you're not going to get a lot of points. Carolina though has offensive talent. How do they get past it? Because they haven't even gotten that from some of their key guys.
No, and I'm looking at the list. Seth Jarvis with the 4 goals, 4 assists leads the team. And he's also a +4. But then you have guys like Sebastian Aho, 2 goals, 3 assists. It's good, but you still need more, right?
He's better than that, yeah.
Svechnikov with a goal. Jake Gensel, to me, like 1 goal, 4 assists, looks really nice on paper. But when you start thinking about it, you need more from him. You need goals. You know, I mean, and he's just not getting them. And then Dmitry Orlov, who they got the big signing in the offseason last year to bring him in because he played so well in Boston in the playoffs, even though it was for nothing. He played so well, and here he is, 1 goal, 1 assist, -1. I mean, he's got to be better than that too. Not necessarily the points, but you know.
Yeah. Again, question mark at goaltender for Carolina, Frederik Andersen, an 8.99 save percentage, 2.54 goals against. Gave up 4 goals in their first game.
Yep.
And again, power play. So from a special team standpoint, if you look at it for the Rangers, they want the additional guy on the ice. They are pretty much, unstoppable.
Dominated.
They have to continue to. Carolina has to stay out of the penalty. If they're going to have a shot in this series,
they can't get penalties. And look, I mean, they're a talented club. I love the balance on this team, but when you start putting player for player, that's where it becomes a big issue. Because I mean, Zibanejad, Trocheck, Lafreniere, and Chris Kreider, Artemi Panarin, and then you get this guy, Jack Roslovic. Who? Jack Roslovic, 2 goals, 3 assists so far in the playoffs. I mean, that's your third, fourth center, right? And here he is, like becoming a household name in this first series plus.
Yeah.
I mean, that Carolina just can't match that up. But what Carolina does have is they have some solid defense. And if they play pretty well and keep the puck out of their own end, then you can put some pressure on them. But when you're talking about defense, Rangers have Adam Fox, who is great in any aspect of the game, whether it's on the power play, anchoring the power play, or shorthanded, or 5-on-5. He's just a great player. And right now, I would put him in the top 4 defensemen in the league.
Who wins this series?
The Rangers.
Not even a question. Okay.
Not even a question.
All right. Wow. All right, Ron, we are going to move on to the last matchup in the Eastern Conference. That's Florida Panthers versus the Boston Bruins. Your Boston Bruins.
My Boston
Bruins lead 1-0 after a big win yesterday, 5-1 in Florida, too. Florida beat Tampa Bay, the Lightning, in 5 games, and Boston, we know they got by in overtime, Game 7 against Toronto. I am going to jinx the team right now, and I'm sorry to do this. But we've talked so much in the past about goaltending, and if you ride a goaltender that's hot, and there is no goaltender hotter right now than Jeremy Swayman, 1.42 goals against, a .955 save percentage, both in the top 2 in the playoffs. You're getting the goaltender that you need right now, and I'm so glad that they decided to stick with him and not go Ullmark and do this rotation, because you see this kid has the it right now.
Yeah, we had this conversation after, what was it, 3-1?
Yes.
And, they stuck with him, and it's a good thing. Yes, I get that they ended up tying up the series at 3 games apiece. It certainly was not Jeremy Swayman's fault, because he's maybe having the best playoff performance in history. I mean, if these numbers stay the same and say they go through the playoffs and win the cup, if they do, I'm not saying they're going to. If they did, this would be the greatest playoff performance in history.
And we've said it, right? The goaltending matters in the playoffs. Listen, as a team, 1.63 goals against, number 1 in the NHL playoffs, 95.8% penalty kill.
And you've got to say, look who you played. Yes, I understand their defense is kind of bad, but they played some offensive talent. That was Austin Matthews, 69 goals this year. Granted, he took 2 games off.
He had an illness.
But it's still Austin Matthews. You still had Nylander. You still had Jonathan Tavares. There's a lot of talent offensively on that team. And you're
seeing the grit. I think this is what this team is right now. They're gritty. You're not getting, listen, Pasternak could still, and I agree with Montgomery, has to step up more.
Yeah.
But Brad Marchand, 9 points, leads the team.
He's doing well.
Right? You got a lot of contributions from a lot of different guys. Florida, on the other hand, Matthew Tkachuk, we know he's their star, 10 points. Bobrovsky.
Oh, Bobrovsky?
Bobrovsky. I always mess that up. 890 save percentage, 3 goals against.
Yeah,
that's not going to win it.
That's the worst goaltender in the playoffs right now.
And I think this is where Boston has the advantage right now, is that you're going to need to score 3 to 4 goals to win a game. They're not giving up 3 to 4 goals.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, all you have to do, if you score 3, you pretty much got the game, right? Because Swayman has been that good.
Yeah. It looks that way. Yeah.
And the more I look at this Florida team, the more I wonder, is it going to sustain its intensity, right? You already saw what happened to them yesterday. And I look at the club, and they got about 4 guys that are really playing well. Reinhardt with the second in goals in the season. But he hasn't really done a lot in the playoffs. You got Kachuk with 4 goals, 6 assists, Verhage with 5 goals, and Barkov 2 goals, 4 assists. Those guys have been great, but Tarasenko is just like non-existent in these playoffs. He's a minus player. Sam Bennett, a big guy that they need to step up, he's a minus in the playoffs. And if the team is playing how it is from that first series, they're going to be in trouble in this series against Boston,
How much
especially
of
them
this was
fired up.
How much of this though was Boston with all that emotion from winning Game 7? Carlo had the kid, had to fly back in, just a couple
Scoring a
hours,
goal on his son's
right?
birth.
Right. But like thinking about all that emotion and high, we know Florida's a very physical team. We saw it last year in the
Yeah.
playoffs and what
Yep.
they were able to do against Boston, who, if you look at it on paper, probably had a better team last year, just from a paper standpoint. How does Boston not let that creep back in from last year? And how do they be more physical than Florida to remain in control of this series?
You play like last night. That's what you do. You play like last night. I mean, some guys have to still play better. Like Charlie Coyle has to play better. He needs to be an offensive threat as well as, defensively. Pavel Zacha has to play better. I mean, first of all, the faceoffs have been atrocious. I mean, that's what you lost when you lost Bergeron and Krejci, right? You lost that faceoffs. And like Zacha hasn't done it. He hasn't been winning them. Coyle is about a 50%, but now they're starting to lean more on a guy like Beecher who's been winning faceoffs. And once they started realizing that and putting him in the lineup because of that, that's why he's in the lineup, because he's doing the faceoffs very well. And now you start seeing those numbers slide a different way, and that is a big reason why they're winning now, right? Is because they're winning those faceoffs, and it changes a lot of things. Like when you lose the faceoff constantly in your own end, you can't get out of your own end.
Yep.
And that's the difference. Now Beecher's been out there winning them, and that has certainly helped. But there's a lot of guys that still could play better. Jake DeBrusk, even though he's got 4 goals, but he's a -3. So you gotta step up in your own end at some time, right? And it might not necessarily be his fault, because a lot of times it was guys like Charlie McAvoy who's coughing the puck up, or Pasternak who has coughed up the puck a lot, and that has created turnovers. And so they're doing all this despite those turnovers because you got Swayman in the net. And he saved their bacon so many times in the first series. And again, last night when, it was no score, how many times did he save the Bruins? And
I will say this, though, resiliency from this team, because
yes,
they get down. They were down against Toronto, came right back, scored.
Right.
They were down last night, and they came right back and scored.
Yeah,
like
a minute later, right?
Yeah, like they're not giving these teams any momentum. They're basically saying, "All right, look, we messed up. So let's figure it out. Let's get a goal back so that it's even." I like what I'm seeing from the Bruins.
Yeah, it's gutsy. It like you said, grit. There's a lot of that. There's a lot of that in there, and that might be injecting Maroon into the lineup. Look, he looks slow out there, like he can't keep up with anybody, but that playoff experience and that attitude and that grit that you kept saying, that's what he's bringing to this team, and everybody's feeding off of it. Yeah. And that's how you win Stanley Cups.
Do you think the Bruins will win the next game? Is a question from Kenny. Kenny, thanks for joining.
If they can play like they did last night, I don't think the Bruins let off on the gas pedal now because they know what happened to them last year and they want this. They are hungry for this. And I don't think they let up. I think they can go out and I think they can win game 2 as well.
Yeah. My only concern would be, again, we've seen this team, though, lose games that they should have won. We've seen them up 3-1, and we thought that Toronto series was pretty much over. And you give 2 back, and then even in game 7, it was like we're biting our nails the entire time. So I don't know how confident to your point, I got to see it in a couple games in a row.
Yeah. And see, like I attribute Toronto. See, the Bruins have a habit of playing to their level of opponent. They have a habit of that. So things can creep in. But I think because there's so many players that they're bringing in and out of the lineup, I don't think that they're going to be able to relax now because they just brought up another kid. Patrick Brown came in and played game 1 in this series.
Who was the rookie that he's got 3 points? He actually tied for the lead. He's got a funny name for the Bruins. He scored a goal last night too.
Oh, Lowry?
Yeah.
Oh, he's been fantastic.
Right?
A rookie defenseman.
Yeah.
Say goodbye, Grizzly, because he's not going to be around next year. This kid is taking his job.
So, Ron, I got to ask the tough question.
Yeah.
Who wins this series?
I'm saying Boston.
Going Boston.
I'm going Boston.
We've jinxed this team so much on this show tonight that if they lose, everybody's going to blame us. You know that, right?
Yeah, I know that.
So you're saying right now we're going to have the New York-Boston rivalry in hockey.
I believe we are.
What you think the Eastern Conference Finals?
I believe we are.
All right. So let me ask you this. What are you looking for? Who gets to the cup? Do you want to make that prediction now? Or do you want to wait?
I'm going to say Colorado, New York.
Colorado, New York. So Boston loses in the Eastern Conference Finals.
Yeah, they had a little bit of difficulty against the Rangers, so.
And you're not giving a Canadian team into the Stanley Cup again?
No.
All right. So let me ask you this last question, Ron. The way Swayman's playing right now, could he not carry the Boston Bruins to the Stanley Cup Finals?
He could. I think we're going to have to wait and see how they play the Rangers. Because I think the goaltenders are even.
Do you give him a rest, though, at some point? Do you put Allmark in for a game, or do you ride that momentum now?
I don't change a damn thing, to be honest with you. I don't change anything. Look, the way Swayman is playing, it would not surprise me if the Bruins go to the Cup. But I'm not going to be the one to say it.
All right. I like it. We're going to throw the ticker up on the bottom there. So if you like to watch, share, follow our show, we are on every Friday night at 6 p.m. Eastern Standard Time on Rhode Island Broadcasting. We cover all of the top sports stories going on in the world today. So tune in for that. Live, fan interactive. If you join us, you can chat. We can definitely have plenty of really solid conversations around anything that you really want to talk about. Like, share, and follow all of our social media platforms. We're on basically anything and everything. We're also on the radio, WDJY 99.1 in Dallas, Georgia. Excited about that. We are on SEC TV, Public Access Channel 12 in Southeast Connecticut. So much going on with Sports Unfolded. Continue to help us by liking, sharing, following, donate stars, bits, become a sponsor of Sports Unfolded. We'll have hundreds of thousands of eyes on your business a week. Check out the Sports Unfolded website, Hall of Fame. That is just been updated today. So you can check our website and see all of our Hall of Fame inductees. So excited about that. Ron, it's always a pleasure talking hockey with you, my friend.
It is. And fans, I know, look, we have a bunch of viewers out there right now. Throw the comments down. We talk to you like you're actually on the show. So don't be afraid to throw a comment down.
So I'm going to try to shower shave before Friday. I don't know though, because the Celtics on tonight, Bruins on tomorrow. I can't. I mean, I don't have time. I'm so locked into these playoffs, but excited to see if your predictions come true, Ron. We'll see. And some great playoff hockey even tonight. So continue to watch. If you love hockey, wear your show. Trust me, you'll get more hockey insight than anywhere else.
It's tough not to like what you're seeing out there with some of these teams. I like the fact that Edmonton and Vancouver are one of those teams that are going to be in the Final Four. It'll just be a shame when they lose to Colorado.
And there goes your Christmas card. The whole country of Canada.
Oh, yeah, Canada. I just lost all of them, huh?
All right. I want to thank Kenny for joining us live.
And Jean Carlos.
Is it Jean Carlos 41? Yeah. Thank you for joining us. We will see you again Friday night. Cannot wait. Continue to watch those playoff hockey. And we'll be talking about it on Friday, 6 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, only on Rhode Island Broadcasting. All we have asked for every single show is that we have peace on earth.
All right. Have a great night, everybody.